Get ready to wash your minds out, because here come the dirty dozen facts about COVID. The overall infection fatality rate is 0.1 to 0.5%, which is comparable to the medium influenza pandemics from 1936, 1957, and 1968. About 30% of people infected show no symptoms. 95% develop at most mild symptoms and don't require hospitalization. Vaccination can't prevent catching it or transmitting it. A prior infection confers superior immunity to vaccination. In healthy male adolescents, the risk of myocarditis post-vaccination is roughly 5 times the risk of hospitalization from COVID. Around 50% of all COVID deaths have occurred in nursing homes. Many of these people died not from COVID, but from stress and isolation. And in some countries, around 30% of the deaths have been from the indirect effects of lockdown, not from COVID. Children and schools are not major drivers of the pandemic, and school closures have had at most a very limited impact. Teachers are not at higher risk than the general population. Masks don't work.
So without further ado, let's cut to the chase and take a look at an ordinary surgical mask, and I'm using a vape. As you can see, that vape, which has aerosols the same size as COVID-19 or larger, goes through and around a surgical mask.
A direct comparison between US states with and without mask mandates shows they've made no difference. Tracing apps on phones have also mostly proven ineffective. Lockdowns overall have had no significant effect on the pandemic, but they have threatened the livelihoods of 1.6 billion people and threatened to push 150 million children into poverty. Unprofessional media reporting has terrified people, making them believe the coronavirus is 100 times more lethal than it really is. The response to the pandemic is going to be used to increase global surveillance.
I think this is crucial to bear in mind from the perspective of a free society. A virus is harmful, but the destruction of rights is fatal. This is a permanent thing that we don't get back.
There will probably be an attempt to introduce digital biometric vaccine passports.
Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person, because you don't want people moving around the world where you'll have some countries that won't have it under control. Sadly, you don't want to completely block off the ability for those, people to go there and come back and move around. So eventually there will be sort of this digital immunity proof that will help facilitate the global reopening up.
Like other attempts at highly centralized and planned societies in the past, the Great Reset won't work. But that's not going to stop some people trying their hardest to make it happen.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
And of course, we also want to work together on building back better.
It's a big effort to, some would say, to build back better. We would say to really have a great reset